So what's up guys, I'm BlackOpsAmazing, welcome back to another video on the channel where today we are back with a Zombies Q&A, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you're going to enjoy today's video, you know what to do, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go and enjoy. So the first question of today is from Medic, and this is in relation to one of the previous Q&As I did, but he says, I believe that the voice is that of Chernobog. He is saying we because he is referring to himself and the residents of the Dark Ether. Okay, so the first thing you may be wondering is, who exactly is Chernobog? Well, in the machine on the plane wing, there is this message which says, Chernobog's wrath is coming. Now, the way you see it spelled here is actually in Polish, but he is the god of bad fate and worshipped by the Slavs. He represents darkness, destruction, evil, so when we see his name being brought up in Cold War, when we see the words, Chernobog's wrath is coming, what does that mean exactly? We know D Machine takes place in Poland, so there's a link there. I would guess the people staying here at the Nat building when it was abandoned, they wrote this on the plane wing. But why? And we know for Treyarch Zombies everything means something, so there must have been a reason why Treyarch decided to add this in. If he's the god of darkness, destruction, evil, we've had gods previously in our zombie storyline, kind of, although we weren't told specifically. We had Dr. Monty who had godlike powers, we also had the Shadow Man. They aren't really involved in our story right now, but could Chernobog be referencing someone like them? When I say this, I don't think they're actually talking about Chernobog, but potentially there is someone that represents everything that he does. Someone in the Dark Ether, maybe the controller of the zombies, the announcer, the person or creature that says things such as max ammo, insta-kill, double points, the voice that we hear in the Dark Ether. Could that be who they're talking about? And where it says his wrath is coming, when? Because on the staircase of the Nat building, there is some other writing kind of similar to this, which says the accursed one will rise again. Is the accursed one Chernobog? The next question of the day from Zach says, what happened to all of the other characters that aren't Primus or Ultimus? What about the Tranzit crew or the Shadows of Evil characters, even the Mobsters? So we all know by now the fates of Primus and Ultimus, Richtof and Taki, Nikolai and Dempsey. We've all seen the Tag Toten ending. They died, Nikolai poisoned them all, and then he got Samantha to shoot him in the head. That was the only way to end the paradox, so Primus and Ultimus are 100% dead. But what about all of the other characters involved in our zombie storyline? Victus, the Call of the Dead cast, Brock and Gary, as you say, the Mobsters, the Shadows of Evil crew. Well, for most of these other characters, the same thing ended up happening to them. There are a few exceptions, I believe. One of them being the Shadows of Evil characters, because shortly after Shadows of Evil, quickly after we moved on to our next map, the dimension that Shadows of Evil existed in was destroyed by the Apothecans. So that tells us what happened to those characters. As for the Mob of the Dead crew, Sal, Billy, Finn and Al, they were trapped in purgatory, and then at the end of Blood of the Dead, Great War Richtofen used the Firestone to purge the evil from the island, freeing all of the souls. As for everyone else though, the Call of the Dead cast, Victus, many other people in the zombie storyline, they all became trapped in the Dark Ether. I would say for the Call of the Dead characters, that one I'm a little bit unsure about, because we never actually found out their fates after that map. Were they killed by the undead, or did they go on to survive? If you're asking me, well, Eli Tag Toten takes place after Call of the Dead, so surely we'd know, but that isn't true because Call of the Dead took place in 2011, whereas Tag Toten was in 1965. So that one I'm a little bit unsure about, because if they did die before the purging of the universe, then they couldn't have been sent to the Dark Ether. And then talking about the Transit crew, well, they were banished to the Dark Ether, and we saw evidence of that in the Tag Toten ending. They believed after they travelled to Siberia to complete everything that Richtofen told them to do, they would be free and sent to a world, a universe that was safe, one free of zombies. But as you saw, Richtofen lied to them, and along with the rest of the multiverse, it was destroyed, and things that spewed forth from the ether was banished back to the Dark Ether, and that includes Victus. And to give us even more evidence of that, in Classified, there was a radio, a message from Stuhlinger to Richtofen asking him for help.
Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey, Richtofen! You've been gone from my head a really long time. I gotta be honest, I'm freaking out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. Do you know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy, old pal, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's just really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait, shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh, you could be the other one, right? Or the other one. Yeah, you know what? Just go talk to your Richtofen pals at the hoity-toity Ricky Gang Clubhouse and find out what the we're supposed to be doing!
The way Samuel speaks in this radio, he says, Richtofen, you've been gone from my head for a really long time. You sent us here of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's filthy. And then he says, wait, shoot, am I even talking to the right Richtofen? That tells us 100% this radio must have been recorded after Tag der Toten, because before that he only knew of the existence of one Richtofen. And the way he says, you've been gone from my head for a really long time, it's dark, it's damp, that describes the dark ether. The fact that Richtofen isn't talking to Stuhlinger, well, we know why that is. It's because he's dead. Samuel just doesn't know that. So Victus, we're alive in the dark ether. But that was back in 1965. Cold War Zombies takes place in the 1980s. We all know the side effects of the dark ether. The longer you are in there, over time, you will begin to change and contort. Your body will look nothing like it did. You'll end up growing sharp crocodile teeth, a tail, scales, 10 legs. Also, time in the dark ether works different to reality. It seems to be a lot slower. 10 days in the real world could relate to a few years in the dark ether, meaning there are either two outcomes. After Victus was sent to the dark ether, they could have been killed by the monsters and the zombies in there shortly after. If they weren't killed by the undead, they could have died by starvation or something else, since they would have been trapped in there for so long. Or the other option is they turned into a monster. Either way, there is no way that they are still the same. They're either dead, or they've turned into some kind of horrific creature or a zombie. It is impossible for them to be the same now, which kind of rules out the chance of us seeing them again. The next question from Lightspeed says, hey BOA, what happened to the kids in the house? The Ultimus characters that got turned into kids after Gorod. Okay, so pretty much you're asking me, what happened to the other versions of the children we saw in Revelations? We know what's happened to the child version of Samantha and Eddie. Well, at least we do for Samantha. Eddie does exist, we just haven't seen him yet. But in the Revelations intro, we also saw the child version of Dempsey, Takeo and Nikolai. But in Cold War, there's no mention of them. And there's a good reason for that. It's because they don't exist. You pretty much answer what you want to ask me in this question. You say the Ultimus characters that got turned into kids after Gorod Karovi. That's your answer right there, because Gorod Karovi doesn't happen. As a part of the broken cycle, we know the cycle gets broken in Blood of the Dead. Blood of the Dead takes place after Zetsubo no Shima, but before Gorod, so in the end, the crew never end up actually travelling to Gorod Karovi, meaning they don't end up collecting Nikolai's soul. They also don't end up sending the souls to Dr. Monty in the house where he can turn them into children. So they don't exist because Gorod, as a part of the broken cycle, never happened. The only two children that did exist is Samantha and Eddie. Samantha was already a child, and Eddie's soul got collected way before that. I do want to say though, the events of Dreisendrache and Zetsubo no Shima still happened. The crew still went there and collected Dempsey's soul. They still went to Zetsubo and collected Takeo's soul, meaning they were in the summoning key, but at the end of Tag der Toten, the summoning key got destroyed. Those two souls were still in there during that time. Does that mean then that those innocent souls were destroyed when the summoning key was destroyed? Not that it really means anything, but it's still something interesting to think about. So there we go guys, that is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating if you want to. If not, it's totally fine. Thank you guys for watching. Anyway, make sure you are subscribed and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, goodbye.